Hi you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Julia Creations and I'm back with another video. Oh my gosh, you guys, I feel like I've been posting it forever. When's the last time I posted? Saturday was it? Yeah, today is gonna be Wednesday, so yeah, Saturday's video. I don't know about you babes, it feels like forever since I posted, but anywho, that's neither here or there. We're going to be jumping straight into it, and we're going to be doing a budget today to pay off 20 grand worth of debt using a bi-weekly budget. So we are going to get straight into it, you guys. You know what we're going to do? We're going to set up our calendar, set up our monthly budget, break it down to bi-weekly, and then do our debt payoff plan. So let's get to it. And today we are using the Budget Bro Planner, which can be purchased at juliacreations.com, you guys. So if you are looking for a planner to start your budget journey, we do have this same color code available on my place of business, you guys. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Julia Creations. I teach people how to budget and get their finances on track so they can live a debt-free life and have a savings and all that good stuff and make sure their money is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So let's get straight into it, you guys. Alright, you guys, so the first thing we are going to do is we are going to set up our calendar. So let's go ahead and open up our calendar in our planner, and we're going to go ahead and fill out all of our bills and dates in here. And I'm going to fill this out and I'm going to be right back, and then we're going to talk about it. Alright, you guys, so now that we went ahead and set up our calendar, we are going to set up our monthly budget and put all of our bills and dates in there. We put all our subscriptions, our paydays, and everything we need in our little calendar. So now we're going to go ahead and set up our monthly budget, our monthly breakdown, you guys. So when we set up our monthly breakdown, we'll be able to see what we're bringing in for the month, what's going out, and then make up our game plan. But we're still going to also break it down to bi-weekly so we can see after each paycheck. So we're going to go in here and write down our income that's coming in for the month, and then we're going to go ahead and write our goal. Our goal is to pay off debt, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So we want to pay off debt. And then we're paid twice for the month. We do get paid on the 30th of the month, you guys, but that's technically going to be a part of our September cash surplus. So we get paid on the 2nd here. Just going to be bi-weekly. Number 1. Bi-weekly. Number 2. And if you want to put the before tax, you can, but after tax is going to be $16.25. It's going to be $16.25, which is going to total our income for the month. We're going to take 16. Oh, let me put a new battery up in here. Oopsie, oopsie. Let's put a battery in here real quick, you guys. I think that would help us, guys. So we had to recharge here, but anywho, so what we're gonna do is find our total income for the month. So we're gonna take $16.25, which is our bi-weekly checks, times that by 2, which is gonna give us $32.50 as our total income here for the month. So now we're going to go ahead and write down our variable expenses, and our fixed expenses are our fixed and then our variable. So our fixed are going to be our bills that are usually the same every month, and then we're going to go ahead and write in our variable expenses, our expenses that vary each month. So I'm going to go ahead, speed this up, do a time lapse, and then All right, you guys, so just like that, we went and wrote down our expenses. So let's go ahead and add everything up. So we're going to start with our fix. 257 plus 40 plus 30 plus 1350 plus our gym membership for 25 is going to total our fix to 1702. Let's go ahead and add up our variables. 200 for gas, 100 for beauty. Credit cards is going to be 598. And then subscriptions for 35, and hubby takes care of the groceries. So 933 plus 10 or plus 1702 is going to bring our expense total to 2635. That's how much is going out each month. So we're going to take what's coming in, which is going to be 3250, and we're going to minus this by what's going out, which is going to be 2635. So 3250 minus 2635 is going to give us $615 left over after bills and expenses. So how do we get this number? Well, let's go ahead and break down our paycheck so we can actually see after each paycheck how much we have left over. We're going to go ahead and set up our weeks of for the month. That's going to get us planned. And then we're going to break down our paychecks and break it down in here and see how we have our cash surplus. Alright, you guys, and just like that, we set up our week of, so we know exactly what week is coming up and what bills are going to come out. So we're looking at July 28th to basically August 4th, which is going to be the payday of the 2nd of August all the way to the 16th of August. So we need to cover all the bills that come out in this time frame. This is why having a calculator is so nice to have. So you can go ahead and highlight all the things you need to put in here. So our payday that we have is going to be on the 2nd of August, which is going to bring in $1625. So we're going to go ahead and put $1625. And this is going to be the payday of the 2nd here that's in our calendar or in our monthly budget. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take all the bills that come out in this calendar setting that will need to be covered. So we know we have our rent for $675. So the rent totals to $1350. She splits that into 2 payments and pays that bi-weekly. This week we don't get paid, but the next week we'll get paid again. So we need to cover everything that's going to come out from this pay period all the way to this pay period. So we know for a fact we'll have to cover our half of the rent, or the breakdown of the rent that we're bringing in, which is going to be $675. So we're going to put $675 here. And then we're going to fill everything out that's on here, you guys. So we also have our Peacock here. And we have another subscription, the kids, or the Talking Parrot subscription, which is $10. So subscriptions this week, we have 5 plus 10, which is going to give us $15 that we're going to spend on subscriptions for this week out of this check. And then we have our Old Navy credit card, which is $83. The Old Navy, so we're going to go ahead and put that in there, Old Navy. And our goal here is to pay off debt. We total about $598 a month in minimum, so we want to get that paid off. Then we have our Chase credit card here for $98. All right. And then we have the kids and life insurance, which is going to be $30. All right. Then we have our car insurance coming out. All right, so we have the car insurance, which is going to come out as well around this time. So car insurance is going to be $257. All right, and then we have our Chase second credit card for $220. And then we also have our Citi credit card for $27. Alright, you guys, and just like that, those are our main bills that come out around this time frame. So we always want to prioritize our main bills. So we have the car insurance is what we paid. We also paid the kids' life insurance, and then we did our first half of the rent, our other half of the rent that's due here. So we went and covered that with this expense, with this check that we got, the $16.25. So now it's time to go in and add our variables. So we got gas, which totals to about $200 for the month, beauty for $100 for the month, and then also that's basically it. So we just basically put our gas and beauty as bi-weekly. So for gas, we'll go ahead and put $100 this week. And then beauty, we'll go ahead and put $50. So now let's go ahead and add up our expenses for this week. So we're going to go ahead and take $675 plus 30 plus 257 is going to be $962 for what our bills total for this pay period. So our main bills total to $962. Now let's go ahead and add up our variables. So we have our subscriptions for $15, our Old Navy for $83, our Chase for $98, our other Chase for $220, our City for $27, our gas for $100, and our beauty for $50. All right, so it's gonna be $593 plus $962 is going to be basically $55.55 or $15.55. My bad, you guys. For our total of expenses for the week. So we want to see how much we have left over after bills and expenses. So we're going to go ahead and take our income that comes in, and we're going to minus it by our expenses of what's going out. It's the same way we did our monthly budget. The only difference is we're breaking it down by the actual paycheck. So we're going to go ahead and take $15.55 and or $16.25, and we're going to go ahead and minus it from $15.55 because that's what's coming in and this is what's going out, which is going to give us $70 in our savings. This is how much we will save this week. Woo! So just like that, you guys, we went and we covered our first week of the month, and this covered us for 2 weeks. So you see the 11th, the week of the 11th, we don't get paid until the 16th. So this week technically will have to be covered with this week. So we covered all the bills that fell through this time frame. So we would just zero this out. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then we're going to go to the next week and fill this week out with our bills that come out in this time frame. Alright, you guys. So once we get to the next week, we're going to go ahead and look at this pay period that falls on the 16th. So I'm going to go ahead and use silver. We're going to do the pay period that falls on the 16th all the way to the 30th. So we need to cover all the bills that come out from the 16th to the 30th because we don't get paid again until the 30th. So boom, we got a little metallic going on over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what bills we'll need to cover around this time, you guys. So we always split the rent in half. Remember, we always save ahead for our rent. We basically break our payments in half. I don't know why I was like glitching for a second. I was glitchy. So we got rent here, which is gonna be $675. So $675, we'll have to split that for our next payment. Remember, guys, our previous check in July covered the first portion of the rent, and then they paid off the rest here for the first. So we got rent for $675 that we need to pay. Then we also have our gym membership for $25. So our gym for $25. All right, and then we got our Capital One credit card for $83. Capital One for $83. Then we have our phone bill for $40. Maybe $40. Let's go ahead and cross this off on this side. Color coordinate everything, you guys, so we see everything that matches together. Okay, so what do we have next? Just our subscriptions for $20. right, you guys, so we got our subscriptions, and then our variables repeat themselves again. So our variables repeat, so we'll also have our gas for 100 again, and our beauty for 50. And keep in mind, guys, everybody's budget is going to be different. Your budget isn't going to be the same as someone else's, vice versa. So now we have all of our bills and expenses in here. Let's go ahead and add up and see what we get here for the week. Okay, so we're going to take 675 plus 25 plus 40. So our fixed total 2740. Our variables 83 plus 20 plus 100 plus 50 is going to be 253. 253 plus 740 is going to be $993 that we spend this week. So 1625 is the income that's coming in. 993 is the expenses that are going out. 1625 minus 993 is going to give us 632 left over to go in our savings. All right, you guys, this is how we do it. So guys, the next week that comes up will be the week of the paycheck with the 30th, or the next week we don't get paid, so the 23rd we don't have a paycheck, so that week was zero out on our next budget here. This week will be a 0 week, so it'll be just like this week. And then our last week of the month will, the check we get from the 30th, all the bills from the 1st of the month will be coming out again. So we'll basically just do a repeat of this week. So to find our initial cash surplus, we quoted to have $615 left over. According to our budget, the first week we put up $70 in our savings. The second week we put $632 in our savings. Just like that, we are able to save $702 for the month. So we actually saved more than we thought we would, which is awesome. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we are going to set up our debt payoff plan, you guys. Write down our debt list, and we're going to expense track to make sure we're staying on track with our budget and keeping this up for the month. But we're going to go ahead and set up a debt payoff plan using our note sheet in this planner, so we can see how we're going to take this money to get these $598 credit card minimums down. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our Alright, you guys, so once we set up our debt payoff list, we can see the list of debt that we're working to pay off here. So we have our Old Navy with the $23.70 balance with the $83 minimum, our Chase with the $68.20 balance with a $220 minimum, our second Chase for $22.09 with the $98 minimum, and so forth, all of our credit cards. And guys, this first final, I did put this budget, this minimum in our budget. It comes out on the 1st of the month, so it was still included in the minimums budget for the month, but it didn't come out her first paycheck because she was paid the second day later, so the July paycheck covered it. So just want you guys to know that if you didn't see the first final on the calendar, we do have that listed in the budget, so it's all good to go on the bi-weekly budget and the monthly. So starting August, after we take care of our bills and expenses, we have $702 left over according to our weekly or bi-weekly budget that we set for the month. So with this $702, we want to build a savings at the same time due to the fact that she doesn't really have a savings going. So we want to set up a savings for her. So we're going to go ahead and put 500 of this towards debt. And then we're going to put another, the 202 in our savings. So that's what we're going to do. Looking at that formula, we are going to pay off our smallest card to our biggest card regardless of interest, which is called the snowball method. So what we're going to go ahead and tackle is the Chase number 2. So if we want to pay off the Chase number 2, which has a balance of $22.09. We're gonna go ahead and take $22.09 and we're gonna divide it by 500. It's gonna take roughly 4.4 months, so we're just gonna round up to 5 months to pay this off. So we're gonna take August, September, October, November, December. And we're gonna put $500 towards this debt for the next few months. And we're still going to pay the minimum on chase number 2, which is $98. So if we're putting a $500 extra debt payoff towards a $98 minimum, this $98 will cover any interest that accumulates while we're paying off this debt. So we're gonna go ahead and take 500, and we're gonna times it by 5 months, which is gonna give us $2,500. So with $2,500, we're gonna go ahead and pay off Chase, which has a balance of $22.09. So we're gonna take $2,500 minus $22.09 is gonna give us $291 in our savings. So we're gonna pay this off in the span of 5 months, and once that's paid off, we're gonna put $291 in our savings. And then keep in mind, guys, we were putting $202 away for the last 5 months as well to put in our savings, because we want to build our savings and pay off debt. So we're going to go ahead and take 202 and we're going to times it by 5 months. 202 times 5 months. So we're going to put 1010 in our savings. So not only did we pay off $2,200 worth of debt, we also were able to put $291 in our savings on top of 1010. So technically, you know, almost $1,400 in our savings around this time frame. All right. So now once we pay off this Chase number 2, starting January, our original cash surplus was $702. We're gonna go ahead and add $98 back into this $702, which is now gonna bring our cash surplus to $800. We no longer have to pay the minimum. Once again, guys, it could not even take this long because we are putting a $98 minimum, but we're using that $98 to cover interest. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna work on paying off our Capital One credit card. Is our next smallest, and we're gonna do the same process we did before. Break down our cash surplus. We're gonna put $600 of this towards debt, and then we're gonna put $200 in our savings. By the time we get to Capital One, the balance could be smaller since we have been paying the minimum. I'm gonna go ahead and pay off Capital One, which is going to total to $23.37. We're just gonna act like we're starting from the beginning to cover any interest. So if we take $23.37 and divide it by 600, it'll roughly take us about 4 months to pay off the Capital One. So what we're gonna do for the next 4 months, we're gonna go ahead and pay off the Capital One. The time is gonna go by regardless, so let's spend this time getting this paid off. Alright, so January $600, February $600, March $600, April $600. Alright, 600 times 4 is going to give us 2,400. 2,400. And remember, guys, we're still paying that $83 minimum on top of this. All right, and then we're also putting $200 in our savings as well for the next 4 months. So if we take $2,400 and minus it from the balance of $2,337, we're gonna have $63 in our savings. On top of the $200 times 4, $800 in our savings on top of that. All right, you guys, and just like that, we went ahead and we paid off 2 credit cards that quick. Sneezy peasy. The time is gonna go by regardless. Let's spend the time handling business. Okay, so starting January, March, April, May, we no longer have to pay this $83 minimum from Capital One. So we're gonna go ahead and add $83 into our cash surplus, totaling us to $883. As we pay off debt, our cash surplus is going to basically increase. Now let's look at our next smallest credit card. It's going to be the Old Navy, which had a balance of $23.70 with the $83 minimum. So we're gonna pay off the Old Navy, which is $23.70. And break down our cash surplus again, you guys, so we can still build our savings and pay off debt. And this is just based off of preference. So if you want to do yours different, you can. If you want to pull from your savings to pay off some debt quicker, by all means, go for it. I prefer you guys not to, just so you have something to fall on if emergency happens, and that way you're not messing up your plan. All right. So we're going to go ahead and pay off the Old Navy. If we take $23.70 and divide it by 600, it's going to take roughly about 4 months to pay this one off as well. So May, June, July, August. May 600, June 600, July 600, and August 600. 600 times 4, it's going to be 2,400. 2,400, we're going to go ahead and pay off Old Navy, which had a balance of $23.70. So we'll put $30 in our savings automatically. And then we're also going to put $283 aside in our savings for the next 4 months as well. So $283 times 4 months, it's going to be $1,132. And our savings on top of that $30. And once again, guys, this is just the worst case scenario. We are paying a high minimum each month, so it may not even take that long. Once we do that, we paid off the Old Navy credit card. All right, you guys, look how we are going. We're almost done. My camera be getting so hot, and I do not know why. But anywho, you guys, so starting September, we no longer have to pay the minimum of $83 on the Old Navy. So we're going to take $883 and we're going to go ahead and add $83 back into our cash surplus, now totaling to $966. So now we're down to the last 3 cards. We have the Chase number 1 for $68.20. We have the Citi credit card, the first final. So we're going to go ahead and pay off the Citi credit card next. So guys, we're going to do the same thing we've done before. We're just going to go ahead and break down our cash surplus. We're going to put $766 of this towards debt. And we're just going to put $200 in our savings. So remember, guys, our cash surplus is the money we have left over after our budget. All right, you guys. So with $27.21, divide that by 766. We have 4 months to pay this off. So we're just going to do September, October, November, December. We're going to go ahead and say $700, $700, $700, $700. 700 times 4 is going to give us 2,800. With 2,800, we can go ahead and pay off the city, which has a balance of 2,721. And then we'll also put $200 aside for the next 4 months as well. So we're going to take 2,800 and minus it by 2,721. It's going to give us $79 in our savings. And then $800 in our savings as well, in the process of paying off the city credit card with the money we were putting in our savings. All right, you guys, trying to go fast. My camera's like heating up for some reason. All right, you guys, so once we pay off the city card, we no longer have to pay that $27 minimum. So we'll go ahead and pay off the first final. So let's say the first final had a higher interest rate. We possibly could have paid that one off first. I think this one has the highest interest rate. If it's going to take the same amount of time to pay off the card, you guys, that's when you can decide to pay off whoever has the higher interest rates. So now we have $993 as our cash surplus. We're going to go ahead and work on paying off the first final credit card as well. So the first final, which has a balance of $28.79. It could be smaller by the time we get here since we have been paying the minimum, but we're rounding up to cover interest. We're going to put $793 towards debt. And then we're going to put $200 in our savings again. All right, so if we take $28.79 and divide it by $793, it'd take roughly about 3.5 months. So we're just going to round up to 4. January, February, March, April. All right, so 793 times 4 is going to be 3172. With 3172, we're going to pay off the first final, which has a balance of 2879. So 3172 minus 2879. We're going to put 293 in our savings. Then we're also putting $200 up again for the last 4 months. Be $800 in our savings. All right, you guys, and just like that, we paid off our first few credit cards. Okay, so now we're gonna work on paying off the big monstrous one, which is going to be our Chase number 1, which has a balance of $68.20. So we're going to go ahead and pay that one off next. I'm just highlighting this so I can see how much we saved. All right, you guys. So now we're going to go ahead and pay off January, March, April, May. Starting May. Our new cash surplus. We no longer have to pay that $87 minimum. 87 plus 993, the original cash surplus, is going to be 1080. So with 1080, we're going to work on paying off Chase number 2, or Chase number 1, my bad. Chase number 1. All right, which has a balance of $68.20. And we're going to go ahead and do our breakdown again, you guys. We're going to break down our cash surplus. We're going to put $880 of this towards debt. We're going to continue to put that $200 in our savings. And keep in mind, you guys, that we are still paying a $220 minimum on this credit card. So the balance could be smaller by the time we get to this credit card. We're going to go ahead and take $68.20 and divide it by 880. Would take roughly about 8 months to pay off. So we're just gonna go ahead and do 880, which is what's going towards debt, and we're gonna times it by 8 months. The 8th month would basically be December, you guys. So if we take 880 and times it by 8 months, we get 740. 740 minus 6820. 40 minus 6820. Gonna be 220 in our savings on top of the 200 that we were saving for the last 8 months. 200 times 8, 1600 in our savings. So we'll be debt free by December of 26. Woot woot woot. So the time is gonna go by regardless, so why not spend the time getting our debt paid off? Sorry you guys, this was a lot. This is about $19,000 worth of debt. The full debt total was $1936. I'm sorry you guys. The full debt total was $19,336. So we paid that off in a pretty decent time. It's about 2 years to pay off. So almost like putting 10 grand per year towards the debt, you guys. So this is why having a budget planner is so important, you guys, or setting up a budget so you can actually see the timeline it will take you to pay off the debt. So not only will we have a nice savings, we'll officially be debt free, and then we could start saving our cash surplus that we had every single month. We started with a balance of $598 a month in credit card minimums to increasing our cash surplus. Our ending cash surplus is going to technically be $220 that we had left on our last credit card, plus this $1080. So we're basically be saving $1,300 per month moving forward after we pay off debt. So guys, if you haven't purchased a budget planner or booked a one-on-one consultation, what are you waiting for? This can be you too. So make sure you guys are looking at the description below. I have the link to book your private sessions and purchase your planners so you can be doing the same thing. That's how easy it is, guys. All you have to do is set up your budget each month, set up your paycheck breaks down, and then expense track to make sure you're staying on track, and then you'll fill in your debt tracker, add everything up for the month, and then see how much you actually put in your savings each month, you guys. That's how simple it is. So we saved a good amount of savings while paying off debt just using this budget planner. Hope this video was helpful. Make sure you guys like this video, comment below if you have any questions or concerns, and tag your friends so they can learn how to pay off their debt as well. All right, bye you guys.